Alright guys, so when you have a question like this that says find the axis of symmetry and the vertex, a couple things to pay attention to. Normal standard form is y equals ax squared, guys stop talking, plus bx plus c. Hey guys, Dylan, Aaron, stop talking. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Notice how we're missing something. Which one are we missing? We're missing the bx.
Oh.
So I'm going to rewrite this with 0x plus 8. Dylan, Aaron, you guys are being super disrespectful. I already said stop talking, and I told you I'm recording a video. I don't care what the excuse is. Stop talking. I don't care. You guys are all together. It's just literally you're causing me to... Come on. Be respectful the rest of the period and stop talking. All right. So we have a 0x here in the middle. So if I'm asking for axis of symmetry, remember the formula is x equals the opposite of b over 2a. You'll have that formula on your test. So the opposite of b is going to be 0, and 0 divided by anything is just going to be 0. So your axis of symmetry, we don't really have to do any work for. Remember your vertex is an x and a y value, right? X comma y. Well, we already have the x value of my vertex. It's the 0. Now how do I find the y value? You simply plug in 0 for every x you see. So y equals 2 parentheses 0 squared plus 0 times 0 plus 8. Yes, everything's going to cancel out and give you just 8. So that is finding axis of symmetry and finding vertex. Next thing, find the axis of symmetry and vertex of another type of equation. So with this one right here, we notice we have all of our pieces. We have our a, we have our b, we have our c. So let's go ahead and do that. X equals the opposite of b is going to be positive 4 divided by 2 times a, which is negative 1. You simplify this down even further. 4 divided by negative 2 gives you negative 2. So axis of symmetry is x equals negative 2. Now again, take this x value and plug it back in. You'll get the y value. So y is equal to negative sign, parentheses, negative 2 squared, minus 4, parentheses, negative 2, plus 1. Okay, I know I'm going fast, but again, this is a video, so you guys are going to be able to pause it at any point you want to and rewind it, etc. So, following order of operations, PEMDAS, right guys? Parentheses, there's nothing to do inside the parentheses, but there is exponents. So this becomes negative 2 squared. Negative 2 squared is going to become positive 4, but you see the negative sign on the outside? It turns it back into negative 4. That's kind of awkward. Then you're going to do negative 4 times negative 2, which is going to give you a positive 8 plus 1. Then you just simply add and subtract right across. Negative 4 plus 8 is going to give you positive 4. Positive 4 plus 1 is going to give you 5. So your vertex is negative 2, 5. Okay, I'm going to start working on the next one. It's okay if you're still copying the first one. Complete each part using the given graph. So let's go to the video. Okay. Complete each part given the graph. So I know the graph is kind of small, and guys, on your test, you can, since it's going to be on School City, you can enlarge the graphs and look at them, all right? A couple key important parts is going to be the vertex. So we know the vertex is this dot right here. Excuse me, zooming in for a second. Is this dot right here that is our maximum point. Okay? So where is this point located at? Well, from the center, I go to the left 2 units, and I go up 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So left 2 is negative 2, up 4 is positive 5. Sorry, positive 4. So negative 2, positive 4. That's your vertex. Again, so this is kind of like the key features, what we started learning in this unit. Okay? So we have axis of symmetry, again, is the x value. It's an invisible line right here. Right? It's an invisible line that crosses in the middle of your parabola, cutting it in half symmetrically. So it's the x value of your vertex, which is negative 2. Domain. What is domain of parabolas? Always. Thank you. All real numbers. That one was a very easy one. It will always be that way because parabolas are always going outwards forever and upwards forever. Or downwards, right? And in this case, range, right? This one is pointing down. So which means for range, since we're only interested in the y values, we want to look for the highest y value, which also happens to be the y value of our vertex. Well, does our graph exist the This is when you ask yourself for the range. Does it exist below the graph or above? Sorry, the range. Does it exist above the vertex or below the vertex? It exists below it. So how do I say every number below 4? Y is less than or equal to 4. That's where inequalities can help us. Or I could have written it out, you know, like y is every number less than 4, but that's the same thing. Zeros. Well, we know what zeros are. Zeros are our solutions. They're our x-intercepts. So you can clearly see that they are defined right here and right here. Dre, you're next, right?
Oh.
You're next to the restaurant. Go. What's up?
So, from negative, how we got -2 on the vertex is from what the, what's it called? The x-intercept or from the origin?
So how we got the vertex is looking from the origin. We went 2 to the left and 4 up.
How was it to the left? Where did it go?
Man, you're right. It is 1. Thank you so much for catching that. So we're going to go ahead and change that to -1 and -1. I must have miscounted, so again, this is where zooming in can be helpful. So you're right, the origin is right here, so it is 1 to the left and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. Good catch, thank you. All right, so speaking of, where are our zeros? Where are x-intercepts? The origin is right here. The first one is going to be +1. Where's the next one? 1, 2, 3. 3 to the left, right? So -3, +1. And yes, you're going to have to use these curly brackets on your tests. I'll teach you guys that tomorrow, how to type them into the computer. And you will have to do least to greatest, I confirmed. For your answer choices, you will have to do -3, comma, 1 for your answers. All right, so how do I write an equation that's in standard form given all this information? Well, a couple ways. We can write the equation in vertex form and then transform it, or we can write it in factored form and transform it. Factored form is going to be the easiest way to transform it. Does this graph go up or down, guys? It goes down, right? So any one that doesn't have a negative a value is not an answer choice. So A and B are not possible. Right away, you have a 50-50 shot. Cool, right?
D.
Okay, but how do you know? You're just guessing?
It's 50-50.
Yeah, so keep your guesses to yourself, pal.
Might as well just gamble.
Nice. Gambling's great. All right, so y equals negative sign, parentheses. We're going to write this in factored form. So factored form is going to be x, and these are going to be your solutions, right? Remember, when they're inside factored form, they're the opposite. So if that's -3, it should be, and then that should be -1, right? So let's go ahead and transform this to standard form by just doing double distribution. So we're going to go x times x, which is x squared, x times -1, 3 times x,
Plus 3.
yep, 3 times -1, -3. Okay? Remember, this is all still in parentheses with a negative sign on the outside. Isaiah, get off the phone.
Wouldn't it just be -x?
You can write with your left hand. All right. Go ahead and combine these two middle terms right here. So -1 plus 3 is going to be +2. And then now let's distribute that negative sign. It basically just changes the sign of everything. And yes, Blythe was correct. It is D. Blythe, looks like you're really good at 50-50 chances. Good job, pal.
I swear to God, I didn't help him, man. Fuck him. It was the win.
All right, give you guys a second to copy, but then I do need to move on. So again, if you're not able to catch all of this right now, it's not the end of the world. Where will the answer key be?
Canvas.
Canvas. You'll literally have a printout of the answer key
I literally see it right
on
now.
Canvas. By the way, the answer key does have -1, so I just messed up now.
Mister, I need
Right.
a pencil. Other pencil's not doing me good.
I don't have one, Blythe.
Oh, man.
It's not my fault. You don't come to school prepared. That's right.
Dude,
You can afford your phone bill. Why can't you afford pencils?
Because I need my phone. I don't need a pencil.
Oh, well then why are you asking for one? All right, anyway, number 4.
But if I don't do my work, they're going to go all mad.
Okay. Describe the transformation, then sketch the graph. So, a few things to notice. What form are we in right here? Out of all the forms, you can remember.
Vertex.
Yes, vertex form. So vertex form is really important. Vertex tells us the what? The vertex, the HK, yes. And remember, which one is opposite, H or K? H, so what's the vertex, guys? The opposite of positive 1, negative 1, and then just negative 6. So what this is asking you to do is describe the transformation and sketch it. So we're going to highlight a few key important points of our normal graph. Our normal graph is a vertex at 0, 0, and a point 1 to the right, and 1 up, and 1 to the left, 1 up. We're going to move all those points via our vertex. So our transformation is going to be 1 to the left, and then 6 down. Right? You guys see that? So let's take every point, 1 to the left and 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right here. And then of course you can just kind of mimic it. It's always 1 up and 1 right. We're not going to go into too much detail about that, but that is your transformation. The basic of the transformation. Now, talking about number 5 over here, we can kind of already see a few more different things. We still have an H, we have a K, but what else do we have this time? We have a negative sign in front of our equation, which is an A, right? So remember, if A is negative, it means the graph is going which way? Down. Yep, so it's flipped over the x-axis, so it's reflected over x-axis. All right, well, what else is happening? Well, depending on the HK is depending on the rest of the transformation. So remember, H is always the opposite of this, so it's going to be positive 4 and then up 1. So not only did we reflect over the x-axis, we moved to the right 4, up 1. So right 4, up 1. Let's go ahead and show you what that looks like on the graph. Remember to highlight your few key important points of the original graph, right? So 4 to the right, 1 up is 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I should have put a dot there. My bad, guys. 4 up 1. I don't have white out because kids keep stealing them. Anyway, so now instead of going up 1 to the right 1, because our graph's not going up, we're going to go down 1 to the left 1. Our graph is actually going down. So it should look something like this. Just ignore this extra dot right there. But essentially, that is your transformation. On the paper that's uploaded for the answer key, I have it the correct way, obviously, because I took my time and didn't make mistakes. I also have whiteout available. Now I do not. Whiteout is hard to come by now. Again, if you're not able to keep up, totally fine. Again, you can literally just look at Canvas on your phone. The answer key will load as a PDF. You don't have to click anything, highlight anything, okay? So don't worry about it. Next question, number 6. Use vertex form to write the equation of the graph below. Okay, so lots going on here. We have a graph, right? So it's obviously really, really small. So let's find that vertex. Who can tell me where the vertex is? HK, right? Where's the vertex? From the center. 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4 up. 3, 4. Looks good. Now remember, vertex form is y equals a x minus h squared plus k. And since our a value is negative, we're going down, we actually do this. Y equals negative sign, x minus 3, right, because it's the opposite of positive 3, squared plus 4. And then that's our equation in vertex form. Not too bad. Number 7, use the discriminant to determine the number of solutions. So we only barely mentioned the discriminant in the beginning of this unit, right? And I'm not even sure if we really got to it very much. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of give you the rundown of what it looks like right now. There's not a lot of space here, right? But we're going to use, let's see. I'll just start kind of going through it. So the discriminant is this part of your quadratic formula. It's only that part right there. So we know the quadratic formula has a lot to it, but think about it. The nature of a square root, right? What happens, guys, when you take the square root of a negative number? Who remembers what happens in your calculator? Error, right? So if this ends up being a negative number, how many solutions will there be? No solutions. So what we can kind of summarize here is there's 2 solutions, 1 solution, 0 solutions. Okay? So we can say if your discriminant is equal to a negative number, it's 0 solutions. Okay? We can say your discriminant is equal to a positive number. How many solutions will there be? Well, think about it. If it's a positive number, you're going to have plus and minus, whatever the square root of that is. So you're going to have 2 solutions. Now, last one. What is the only thing that would create 1 solution? Think about it. Well, we have negative numbers, we have positive numbers. What's in between all of those numbers?
Numbers.
What number is between all negative numbers and all positive numbers? 0. What's the square root of 0, guys? 0, right? 0 times 0 is 0. So if you get plus or minus 0, did that change anything? No. So if you get equals 0, right? Then how many solutions is it?
1.
Okay. Good job. So that's kind of the breakdown right there. Not really that hard, and it's kind of logical, right? So let's do this one right here. I know we don't have a lot of room, but let's kind of do it. So we have the square root of b. Our b value is 10, so we're going to go 10 squared minus 4. Our a value is 1. What's our c value?
25.
Good job, 25. So we're only doing this part of it. So let's go ahead and do it. What is 10 squared, guys?
100.
100. And then what is negative 4 times 1 times 24? 25.
Negative 100.
Negative 100 minus 100. I think you can see what's about to happen here.
100.
What's 100 minus 100?
0.
So the square root of 0 means how many solutions?
1 solution.
1 solution. Good job, guys. It's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Practice this. Remember it. I'm sorry the notes look so bad right now. I'm just like, I'm writing on this this backing of this right here, and it's like messing it all up.
Actually.
But what I circled is the notes kind of section, and then what I didn't circle is the worked out solution. And like I said, this should be pretty logical, right? If you end up with a positive number, it should have 2 solutions, because you're going to have plus or minus. And negative numbers, well, you can't take the square root of negative numbers no matter how hard you try. All right, we're about halfway done. We got about 15-ish, 20-ish minutes left. Who's next to the restroom? Go. So we should be able to finish this worksheet and not stress out. All right, next question. Given the vertex 3, 1 and the point 6, 4, write an equation in vertex form and standard form. Don't forget to find the a first. So that's going to put a lot of skills in play here. So we have a vertex, we have hk, right? We have a point, which is an x, y. Well, if you remember, how do we write vertex form and standard form given all this? We have to plug in everything we know to find a, right? So we've done this before. So y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. That's vertex form, right? Well, in order to solve for a, we plug in everything we don't. Everything we know. We have an x, y value, we have an h, and we have a k value. So the y value is going to be this 4 right here. So 4 equals a. And yes, this stuff will be on your test. X right here is 6, so it'll be 6 minus positive 3, so it's just minus 3 squared. Your k value is plus 1. Where'd you get 4? 4 is your y value. Yep. That's a common mistake though. Okay, then we just do order of operations. I like to do all of this first. What's 6 take away 3? 3. What's 3 squared?
9.
9. So remember, 9 is being attached to the a by multiplication. So this is 4 equals 9a plus 1. Okay, now we just solved for a by subtracting 1 from both sides of our equation. 4 minus 1 is going to be 3, so I'm going to draw an arrow. It's going to be 3 is equal to 9a. Now, how do I get rid of the 9 being multiplied to a? Divide by, 9, right? Well, we know the regular way. 9 divided by 3 is 3. What's the opposite? 3 divided by 9?
3.
It's 1 over 3, right? Does it kind of make sense? What's 9 divided by 3? 3, right? 3 over 1, which is regular 3. So it's flipped. So a is actually a fraction 1/3. If you don't remember what the fraction of 1/3 means, it means that it is not a stretch, it's a compression. So if a is 1/3, we should be able to write vertex form now, right? So y is going to be equal to 1/3 x minus 3 squared plus 1. Now the tricky part is going to be running standard form. That's going to be the not-so-fun part. So I'm going to kind of give you a little line here. So standard form, remember, looks like this. It is a fully worked out, foiled out problem. So in order to do that, we have to work out this square, x minus 3 squared. Well, x minus 3 squared, if you don't remember, that's a perfect square trinomial. So remember how I told you guys how to get this? You can work backwards. What's the square root of 3? Sorry, what's 3 times 3? 9, right? And what's negative 3 plus negative 3? Negative 6, right? So this should be x minus 6x plus 9. But I'll work it out for you to show you that it actually becomes that. It's kind of working backwards from completing the square if you don't remember. So that means this is x minus 3 times x minus 3. I'll rewrite all of it else after I've done fully this out. Like I just told you, x times x will give you x squared. X times negative 3 will give you negative 3x. I'm not going to write this because I want you to see what's about to happen. What's negative 3 times x? Again, negative 3x. Add them together, you get minus 6x. And then negative times negative is positive, 3 times 3 is 9. So didn't I tell you, kind of working backwards, that this is what this would be? This is a perfect square trinomial. Well, it's still being multiplied by 1/3, and it's still being added 1 at the end. So order of operations tells us to do multiplication first. So we're going to distribute this 1/3 to everything. Guess what? Multiplying by 1/3 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. You cut the number in half. This time you're cutting the number in 3s, right? So 1/3 of x squared is just 1/3 x squared. What's 1/3 of negative 6? What's 6 divided by 3?
2.
Negative 2x, good job. And then what's 9 divided by 3? Good. Plus 3 plus 1. So your final answer is going to be 1/3 x squared minus 2x. Then combine these two like terms at the end, plus 4. Crazy, right? That this and this are the exact same equation. They hardly look alike, right? But they are. Again, your test is tomorrow, so I recommend you being off your phones, right? Dylan, I go see you too, buddy.
He already finished.
You already finished what?
Yeah, the paper, he copied it on Canvas. We're doing that the whole time.
So the back of it too?
Yes.
So you're gonna watch the video tonight instead of playing Fortnite tonight?
I have double practices, I don't play for
Oh, okay, cool. So you know this video is going on Canvas, right? So
Yeah.
I can probably just send this video to your mom saying how you're playing Fortnite in class rather than,
He's not playing Fortnite. He's on Canvas.
oh, what are you playing, Call of Duty instead? Call of
Yeah,
Duty Mobile?
he's on Canvas.
All right, I'm just gonna be like, hey, Dylan's mom, I highly recommend you watching this video on Canvas today.
Why Dylan's mom specifically?
Okay. All I'm saying is, good luck, brother.
2 days.
If you don't take this seriously, good luck. So on the back, given the zeros, x equals -1,4 and the 0.34, write an equation in factored form and standard form. So this is the exact same type of question that we just did, except now it's asking for factored form. So let's go ahead and do this. So we have the zeros right here, so this is going to be m, this is going to be n, and we have a point x, y. So if you don't remember factor form, it looks like this. Oopsie. X minus m, x minus n. All right, so let's plug in everything we already know. 4 is going to be equal to that. A, we don't know. X is 3, so this is 3 plus 1. You see how it's the opposite of this one? Yes. X minus 4. Go ahead and, oh, not X, my bad guys, 3, right? So let's just simply do this. What's 3 plus 1?
4.
4. What's 3 minus 4?
-1.
-1. What's -1 times 4?
Negative.
-4a. Yep. Then we divide both sides by -4. A is equal to -1, which is going to make our life a lot easier. So we should be able to write factored form now. It's going to be the exact same thing we wrote in the beginning, except the negative sign in front now. And then instead of replacing the x and the y's, we're going to just replace it with the answers. Sorry, the solutions. That is factored form. And the standard form should be pretty easy. You're literally just going to take this, you're going to refoil it out, and then make everything negative. So we've done this multiple times, so this part is not brand new to you. So-
Ask me why I'm
X times x will give you x squared. X times negative 4 will give you negative 4x. 1 times x will give you plus 1x. 1 times 4, negative 4 will give you negative 4. Again, combine your two middle terms, just like a normal problem. Negative 4 plus 1 is going to be negative 3. So this is y equals negative sign x squared, negative 3x minus 4. Last step is to distribute that negative sign, so change the sign of everything. So we're going to write our final answer. There you go. Now looking at this and looking at this, you couldn't clearly see that these are the same answers, the same equations, right? So you have to be able to transform between them and back and forth. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left, so stay focused until the end. I want to make sure that we get all of this on video as much as possible, okay? Number 10, solve the quadratic equation by factoring. So factoring method, right? First off, with factoring, there's multiple ways. We're going to want to see if there's a GCF. Is there a greatest common factor? No, right? Is it equal to 0? Yes. All right, we can just start using the x method. So the x method says a times c goes in the top, right? And your b value goes in the bottom. So negative 27 goes in top, 6 goes in the bottom, right? Now we need to find two numbers that multiply to negative 27 but add to 6. What do you guys think they are? Well, I mean, there's only a couple numbers that multiply to 27. 1 and 27 and 9 and 3, right? That's literally all that exists. Well, if I want to make positive 6, which one's got to be the negative? The 3 or the 9?
3.
Yes, because if the 3 is negative, you'll end up with a positive left over, right? So it doesn't matter which side you put it on, but I always tend to do the negative one first, so I don't have to factor out the negative later on. So remember, in good old school factoring, we break that 6x into negative 3x and 9x. So this becomes x squared minus 3x plus 9x minus 27 equals 0. Good old x method. Now we see some GCFs, right? Now we have some greatest common factors if we group them. So over here, our GCF is going to be, the only thing we can take out is an x. What's our GCF over here? Well, we know 9 goes into 27, right? So 9. So divide out the x, you have x, and then take an x away. That's what you're left over with. Divide out the 9 comes on the outside, and you'll get x minus 3. And we know we did this correctly because we have our double pairs. Now, put the GCFs together in their own group, multiply to that binomial, equals 0. And then, of course, now it asks you to solve it, which is asking you what are the x values. Again, this is that thing where you can just cover it up and say, what value equals 0? Negative 9. This one's going to be positive 3. But remember, I told you to separate them. The actual way is to separate them to two equations. X plus 9 equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0. Obviously, you're going to subtract 9 on this one. You're going to add 3 on this one. So you can clearly see your answer is x equals, inside curly brackets, remember to do the negative one first or the least number first. And that is your answer, negative 9, comma 3. Good old x method. Number 11 asks you to solve the quadratic by completing the square. Well, remember, completing the square requires us to be in a specific format, right? So the specific format for completing the square, whoops, we don't want y. It's going to be ax squared plus bx equals your constant term, right? We want to be able to make a perfect square trinomial. Well, I see for number 11, I have a 19 on the left side. I really don't want a 19 on the left side. And my bx is on the right side. So I actually got to manipulate a lot here. I got to subtract 19 from 4. I also got to add 8x to the other side. Because I have to set it up like this for completing the square. Now I'm going to go ahead and go over here. Let's see, x squared plus 8x. 19 and 19 are going to cancel out. Those are going to cancel out. 4 minus 19 is going to be equal to negative 15. Now I'm leaving a space here because we all know with completing the square, there's a space. Now guys, I've already seen your test. Your test has a completing the square problem worked out all the way. You're going to be filling in the blanks as it goes, right? So in this blank right here, remember it has to be half of that number squared. What's half of 8? 4. What's 4 squared?
16.
Yep, so 16 is the number we're adding to both sides. Now another blank on your test is going to be, what is the blank right here? Well, we know it's going to be x, and if this is plus, it's going to be plus. What goes in this blank right here? How do I turn this? No, not 16. 4. Remember, it's the square root of whatever that number is. Negative 15 plus 16 will give you 1. Okay, now we're going to keep going. We're going to square root both sides. The square root of x plus 4 squared is going to be just x plus 4 equals plus or minus 1. Now, one of the other blanks is going to be which one is the solution, right? So you're going to have to actually solve it all the way through. So again, we create two equations. One is going to be x plus 4 equals positive 1. The other one is x plus 4 equals negative 1, right? We can kind of quick math this. Both of them are subtracting 4. So you're going to have two answers. I'm going to put my answer back up here at the top. So the first answer is 1 take away 4, which is negative 3. The other one is negative 1 take away 4, which is going to be negative 5. So I actually did this backwards. It should have been negative 5 here, then negative 3, right? Least to greatest. But you get the idea, right? The last blank on the test will be what is one of the solutions, right? So you look through the answer boxes and you check the one that's a solution. All right, so based off of time, I'm going to be able to do probably one of these next questions and then the last one. So based off of both of these questions, I'll do number 12, and then obviously you have the answer number 13 worked out, right? So number 12, use the solve using the quadratic formula, because they're both the same thing, right? So the reason I want to do this one is because it's not equal to 0, so I want to set it up for you. Subtract 12 from both sides, so you'll get 2x squared plus 7x. 3 minus 12 is what, negative 9? Equals 0, yep. All right, so let's use this quadratic formula. You guys know it already. I don't need to write it down. You'll have it on the test. X equals the opposite of b, which is negative 7 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 7 squared, minus 4 times a times c. My a is 2, my c is negative 9. All divided by 2 times my a, which is 2. All right, let's go ahead and work this out. We know we have to work out that discriminant first, right? Now you have a word for it, which is the thing underneath the square root. Well, 7 squared is going to be 49, right? So I'm going to kind of just do it right up here. 49. Negative times negative, we know we're going to have addition now, right? Because it's positive. 4 times 2 is 8. What's 8 times 9?
72.
Plus 72. And 49 plus 72 is going to give you 121. And lucky for us, what is the square root of 121? 11. So we can rewrite our answer like this. X equals negative 7 plus or minus 11 divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. One thing students always forget is to multiply the two bottom numbers. So please don't forget to multiply this. Guys, we were working to the bell today. I'm so sorry, but please bear with me, okay? So now we can create two different equations. So this will be negative 7 plus 11 divided by 4. And this will be negative 7 minus 11 divided by 4. Okay? So let's simplify the top first. Negative 7 plus 11, right? Isn't that going to be positive 4? It is. What's 4 divided by 4? 1. And on the bottom, negative 7 minus 11 is going to be negative 18 divided by 4. And 4 does not go into negative 18 evenly. However, there is a number that you can reduce it by, which is 2. So if I simplify the top and the bottom, I get negative 9 over 2. So my answers are x equals in curly brackets, the negative number first, negative 9, 2, and then comma 1. Again, you have this one worked out, right? So I'm not going to work this one out, but you have it. It ends up being decimal answers. So you end up getting the square root of 17 at some point, and the square root of 17, we're just going to simplify it. It becomes 4.1, right? Which is okay. So remember, it's going to be plus and minus 4.1. So you end up with answers like this. X equals 0.4 and 1.4. But there's your answers. Again, the worked out solution is on Canvas. All right, last question. And this one is on your test. It is really important that you have it. Okay? And we have to do all 3 of these pieces. I know it's a lot. We can do this together. A circus acrobat is shot out of a cannon with an initial upward velocity of 50 feet per second. The equation that models the pathway is this equation right here. What is the maximum height of the acrobat? So in order to find the height of the acrobat, we need to find the vertex, aka the axis of symmetry is the first starting point to finding that. So the opposite of b is going to be negative 50 divided by 2 times a, which is negative 16. So if we simplify this even further, a negative over negative will be a positive. 2 times 16 is 32. 50 divided by 32 we're going to get 1.56, so we're going to simplify to 1.6 for now, okay? On my worked out thing, I have the whole decimal, right? But it doesn't really matter because you're going to get close enough. So h is equal to negative 16, parentheses, 1.6, but I'm simplifying for saving time, right? 1.6 squared plus 50 times 1.6 plus 4. Because that is going to give us, after 1.6 seconds, how high he is. So, do this piece by piece if you want to. 1.6 squared is 2.56. So times that by 16 negative, you get negative 40.96. You guys doing this with me, getting it? Same answer? Then do 50 times 1.6, and you get 80. So plus 80 plus 4. So just simplify it. 40.96, make it negative, plus 80 plus 4 in your calculators. You get 4304. So just so you know, on Canvas, it'll say 43.1, and that's because I didn't reduce this. But don't worry, on your answer choice won't have a decimal for the test, so you won't have to worry about it, okay? But this is roughly your answer. Is 43 is roughly your answer feet, okay? Now, how long will it take the acrobat to reach the ground? That's asking for a solution. So you're going to use the quadratic formula. X equals negative 50 plus or minus the square root of 50 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 4. Guys, we will finish in time. You don't need to pack up. All divided by 2 times negative 16. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and simplify this all for you. 50 squared will be a big number. Take away, you're going to have a positive number. You're going to add these two numbers together and you're going to get a huge number. Then you're going to take the square root of that huge number, and it's going to be 52.5. So you get negative 50 plus or minus 52.5. Again, you can exercise and do this at home, negative 32. And you keep simplifying. One's going to be plus, one's going to be minus, but guys, I told you this before. If you use the plus one, you're going to end up with a positive number on top. So we got to do the subtraction one. Negative 50 minus this number, then divided by this, and you get your answer is 3.2. You would, if you did it you would get a negative answer, but again, you would just have to choose the positive answer as your answer. Last one, approximately how many feet in the air will the acrobat be after 3 seconds? What you're going to do is you're going to just substitute 3 seconds for t. Guys, you're fine. You don't have to start packing up. Relax. So h equals negative 16, 3 squared. So instead of substituting 1.6 like we were doing before, we want to see how high we are in 3 seconds, which, as you can clearly see, is very close to the ground, right? Before he reaches the ground. Plus 50 times 3 plus 4. So the whole number is going to be really easy. 3 squared would be 9. 9 times negative 16 is negative 144. Plus 550 times 3 is 150. Plus 4. Well, negative 144 plus 150 will be positive 6. Positive 6 plus 4 will be 10 feet. Okay. So good luck on your test tomorrow, guys. Please watch this video on Canvas. Please look at the answer key on Canvas if you struggle. Thank you guys so much for being patient with me. And of course, now look, you have plenty of time to pack up, don't you? I knew it.